Minotaur. Chapter to the Labyrinth and the Beast's fate, forged in the malice of the gods and the depths of human passion, brought the Minotaur to life, but his existence was shrouded in fear and alienation. King Minos, deeply shaken by the birth of the monster, realized that keeping the Minotaur among people was impossible. The revulsion toward this creature, embodying sin and divine curse, pushed the king to a cruel but inevitable decision to imprison his son in the labyrinth created by Daedalus. This labyrinth was not just a structure, it became a symbol of the very essence of human fear and the desire to control the unknown. Daedalus, with his skill and genius, created a design so complex and intricate that no mortal could escape from it. Twisting corridors, stone walls, endless turns, all of this was woven into a continuous network, where the end of each path only marked the beginning of another. The labyrinth, like a giant organism, swallowed those who dared to enter and hid from the world the one who lived at its heart. Within these walls, the Minotaur found his refuge and, at the same time, his prison. At first, he was a child unloved by anyone, a creature deprived of warmth and care. In the gloomy corridors of the labyrinth, he grew up in solitude, knowing neither affection nor friendship. Only the echo of his footsteps accompanied him, and darkness was his only companion. But with each passing year, he grew stronger, his body hardened, and his mind darkened, filled with rage and despair. Minos, aware of his prisoner's growing strength, could not leave him without sustenance. To sustain his life, youths and maidens from Athens were sacrificed, becoming the price of peace with Crete. Each year, 7 young men and 7 young women were sent into the labyrinth, where inevitable death awaited them. Their fate was sealed. They were to become food for the Minotaur, feeding his monstrous strength and beastly fury. These sacrifices, though horrific, were a necessary evil for Minos. He understood that only in this way could the monster be contained, preventing him from escaping the labyrinth. But each time new victims entered the dark corridors, the Minotaur's anger grew, as did his hatred for the world that had rejected him. Over time, the labyrinth became not just a prison, but a home where the Minotaur found his true self. In the darkness, among the cold stone walls, he was no longer the frightened child who had been imprisoned here. He had become the embodiment of strength and fear, a being in whom all the horrors and shadows hidden in the human soul were concentrated. The labyrinth became an extension of himself, a place where the beast and his environment merged into one. Yet despite all his strength, the Minotaur remained alone. His animalistic nature craved blood, but deep within his being, there flickered an awareness of his uniqueness and alienation. He understood that he did not belong to the world of men, nor to the world of the gods. He was a creature between two worlds, a being that had found no place in either. Each new victim, each new step in the labyrinth only heightened in this feeling. The Minotaur was imprisoned not only physically, but also spiritually, his rage and despair growing with him. He had become not just a monster, but a symbol of what happens when fear and alienation give birth to something capable of destroying not only physical barriers, but the very foundations of human nature. Thus, years passed, and the world outside the labyrinth forgot what lay hidden in its depths. Only those who brought the sacrifices knew the truth, but even they began to see the Minotaur as a myth, a tale to frighten children. But at the very center of the labyrinth lived and waited the beast, whose story was far from over.